Today on the Morning Edition, a lot of uncertainty as questions about the PFD and the amount for this year float around the state. Rumors have been swirling that there won't even be a PFD payment this year. Well, we asked lawmakers what is happening, and we'll fill you in on the important details. Plus, ice art championships in Fairbanks are underway. We'll take a look at some of what's being made and find out how much more there is to enjoy. And later, a woman that suffered a medical emergency behind the wheel ended up in a canal, but a good Samaritan didn't leave her there. While he might not think of himself as a hero, she believes he is. We'll find out their story as the Morning Edition starts right now. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. We've made it halfway through the work week, but we do have another first alert weather today. This day, it's affecting the interior.
Yeah, we're talking about heavy snowfall that's going to impact your morning as well as evening commute. That snow already beginning to fall through the interior. It is bringing a push of warmer air as well. 9 degrees in Fairbanks. Now across South Central, things are fairly quiet to start off the morning, but we will see some light snow showers arriving later today. And then, of course, southeast will continue to favor quiet conditions for your Wednesday with more sunshine, although we could see some breezy conditions today. So the overall weather pattern set up. There's that cold front that is clearing western parts of the state. So snow is tapering off for western Alaska, but we'll still favor some gusty conditions for areas of up and down the west coast. But as this system continues to build inland, it's going to bring heavy snowfall into the interior, which we're already seeing this morning through parts of Fairbanks and surrounding locations. Now, it is dry this morning across South Central, but again, that snow will steadily arrive into the mid-morning, early afternoon. You can see that widespread snow that we are dealing with as you head into the interior this morning, really taking over most of the central interior. Now, if you live in the eastern interior, Circle, Fort Yukon, out towards Birch Creek, Eagle, largely expecting just some light snowfall accumulation for you. This is not going to bring any significant snowfall accumulation as you head east of into the eastern interior. But the central interior, as you head out towards the Alaska Range and areas of the western interior, will see the potential for near double-digit accumulation through today and into tomorrow. You can see those temperatures will steadily warm into the teens and the lower 20s. Snow will continue to increase in intensity throughout the day and into the mid-morning and early afternoon. You can see temperatures across the state today. Still cold along the slope, but many areas still sitting well above zero, even out towards Nome at 14 degrees. But even then, we're going to see those temperatures drop for areas of western Alaska. So coming up in my full forecast, we'll be talking about this overall impacts with this winter storm shifting east, that heavy snowfall spreading into the interior. And of course, later in the show, some snow today for South Central with breezy conditions arriving into our Thursday and Friday. I'll have those details for you coming up.
A PFD worth $0. That's what you may have heard. Some political leaders say that's what you'll be receiving this year. But when we asked lawmakers in charge of the issue, they say that's not true. This started last week when the House Finance Committee took the governor's $3,600 PFD out of the budget. That step, which lawmakers in charge of the budget call normal, has happened 5 of the last 8 years. Finance leaders say Alaskans will get a dividend. They just need to discuss how much as they build the final budget. The House Committee chair says it's likely to be between $800 to $1,400. That after Alaskans received $1,000 last year. In a video posted Tuesday, the lieutenant governor accused, quote, Juneau Democrats of betraying Alaskans.
The PFD didn't really get zeroed, it got removed for later discussion. So in 5 of the last 8 fiscal years, this exact same thing happened. There are members who would prefer to start at zero.
We don't yet know exactly where the budget is going to take us, but I can tell you as a rural legislator, I'm aspiring for the most that we can get in the PFD this year. And it's got to meet affordability and sustainability sort of requirements.
Lawmakers say this will not be decided until the end of session. We asked all 17 gubernatorial candidates, including Dahlstrom, about the claims. The lieutenant governor has not returned comment. You can read the other responses on our website and mobile app. 4 elementary schools are on the chopping block as the Anchorage School District stares down a $90 million deficit. Reporter Joe Allgood has the details from the school board meeting.
Closing several Anchorage schools was the biggest item of discussion at tonight's school board meeting after the Anchorage School District announced they would be considering closing 4 schools on Friday.
Well, I don't want my school to close.
I just hate to see everybody
cry as soon as I get out of school on the last day.
After the abrupt announcement on Friday, hundreds, including students and parents of the 4 schools, appeared at Tuesday's meeting to advocate for their community.
Lucas is going into 5th grade next year. He's been with these teachers his entire school career.
Of the 4 elementary schools, Fire Lake and Lake Otis were both up for closure last fall before a vote to not close them. O'Malley and Campbell STEM are new additions to the list.
I really like the school, and it's the only STEM school in Alaska, and I don't want to shut down.
We have an awesome community put together, and they're all going to be dispersed into, wherever.
Other communities like nurses and art teachers were also represented well as the district looks to thin their ranks.
It's hard to find someone who has a 4-year undergrad in music and then also a 4-year undergrad in art, never mind a master's in music ed or art ed. And so I think it's going to be really difficult to find someone to teach both of those positions in one position.
While the district reiterated that these cuts or closures are necessary in a time of need.
It allows us to strengthen our academic levels of service. This proposal allows us to improve our operational efficiency. And lastly, this proposal will allow the district to generate short-term savings.
The Anchorage School Board is expected to make their final decision on next year's budget at a special meeting next week on February 24th. Joe Allgood, Alaska's news source.
The Fairbanks North Star Borough is updating its 20-year plan and wants to know what you think. The plan guides the borough in its development going forward. Issues like land use, transportation, and economic development are all covered. A survey is now on the borough's website.
Maybe there's an item where you're like, hey, I understand that this is important in our community, but I don't necessarily feel like this is something that I want the government to be responsible for, but there's this nonprofit group that could do this. Or, hey, maybe we could approach it in this unique way. So offering kind of other ways to address issues.
This survey is open until the end of February. A Fairbanks crime ring investigation is facing new questions in court as defense attorneys accuse state troopers of withholding critical evidence like photos. The case stems from a brutal October kidnapping and torture of a North Pole man. It led to 35 indicted charges against 6 people. That includes Katrina Gallegos, who appeared in court Tuesday. She was recently arrested on firearms theft warrants. Her defense counsel argued troopers failed to present all photos involved, which they say would prove she was not guilty.
This particular camera can store up to 20,000 photos on the cloud. So there may be a need for a discovery hearing with respect to Trooper Altapeter and Trooper McAfee because it appears that they have selectively decided which photographs, at least, that they collected.
A pre-trial proceeding is set for March 26th. The actual trial is tentatively scheduled for late April. Artists from around the world are chipping, cutting, and carving up massive blocks of ice. It's all part of the World Ice Art Championships. Adrian Peterson checked out the first competition, which began this week.
Here at the World Ice Art Championships, artists from as far as the Philippines are in the process of turning 2 or more tons of ice into spectacular creations. The championships begin with the multi-block competition where teams of artists are working to make large and elaborate designs into a reality. It's all done with the help of heavy equipment that lays out large blocks of ice, each weighing around 4,000 pounds. Despite the size, the medium still comes with serious challenges.
It's a much more fragile medium, just under negative. 10 is about a pretty solid temperature to work in, whether you're doing seams or just carving in general. The ice seems to, not be so fussy. But in other years, it's also been cracked because of earthquakes and all sorts of other things.
Conditions are a tad warm now, but for Knos, it's the process and product that brings him back year after year. And sometimes that process begins long before the ice is ever formed.
Sometimes you take it up with a good team in a matter of weeks or months, but other times you've thought about this design for several years, and just a matter of getting the right people in place that want to do it and, bring it all together that time.
While these teams won't have a complete piece until the end of this week, there are many more competitions yet to get underway. There are 4 more competitions following the multi-block, and the Youth Classic will end it all on March 13th. Adrian Peterson, Alaska's news source.
Leaders in Alaska are pledging to keep hope alive and continue the work of the late Reverend Jesse Jackson, who marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His family says Jackson died peacefully on Tuesday morning, surrounded by loved ones at the age of 84. Augusta McDonald has more on his impact in Alaska.
My constituency is the desperate, the damned, the disinherited.
In the 80s, Reverend Jesse Jackson ran for president twice.
His presidential campaigns of 84 and 88 were influential in how he conducted a campaign to really bring people who were locked out and left out.
Democratic Party voters in Alaska selected Jackson in the 1988 precinct caucuses.
Keep hope alive.
It meant hope for so many people.
CEO of the Alaska Black Caucus, Celeste Hodge Groden, said support for Jackson's Rainbow Coalition was made clear by Alaska's support for his second presidential campaign. Now she says it's time to carry Jackson's legacy forward.
One thing we really need to do a better job of is getting our folks interested in the vote, getting them participating in the process, getting our people registered, and making sure that they're educated on the issues, and then finally making sure that they vote.
Hope lies in us.
Pastor Undra Parker of Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church in Anchorage said Jackson influenced him personally.
He's left marching orders. He's left a movement. He's left footprints that if we don't know how to make footprints, we can step in his and start our own from there. We can move forward and keep this dream alive that we can have rights that affect everybody for good.
Augusta McDonald, Alaska's news source.
Still ahead, howling winds, blowing snow, and whiteout conditions. None of it can keep the Iron Dog racers down, but it did stall the race for a bit. We'll find out how they're faring and have an update next.
And that heavy snow, as well as some gusty conditions, build into the interior for your Wednesday. Of course, that should say Wednesday at the top, but that sunrise coming in at 8:32 in Anchorage, 7:21 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back. 15 minutes past the hour on this Wednesday morning, and the interior is expecting a lot of snow today. Aaron, what's going on in this first alert weather day?
Well, once again, we will see that potential for nearly a foot of that snowfall accumulation across parts of South Central, or parts of the interior, I should say, as we welcome in today. The interior for today, you can see 6 to 10 inches of snow accumulation. However, in some of those isolated pockets of heavier snowfall, we could see about 12 to 15 inches of that snow accumulation, with blowing snow and hazardous road conditions being the biggest concern through the interior. So winter storm warnings have been issued. Those winter weather advisories we did see south of Fairbanks, that's been upgraded to a winter storm warning. And again, this is until 7 a.m. Friday for some heavy snowfall to be expected. We're already beginning to see that snow falling through parts of the interior. Now, that snow depth in Fairbanks approaching 29 inches, or sitting right under 30 inches, which is the maximum snow depth that was reached on at February 16. So that was from that widespread heavy snowfall that fell through the weekend that brought nearly a foot of snowfall accumulation. And once again today, we could see that potential for nearly a foot in some areas of the interior. So we're starting off this morning for your morning commute at a temperature of 9 degrees. Take it easy on those roadways. Into the evening is where we'll most likely see some of the more hazardous road conditions with that heavy snowfall that's going to be falling for several hours. So be prepared for that evening commute to lead to more hazardous road conditions compared to what you'll see this morning. 2 below in Living Good, 12 below in Lost Creek, 10 below in Fort Yukon, where we are beginning to see that push of warmer air and snow. Those temperatures are already climbing above 0. 4 degrees in Tanana, while Fairbanks is coming in at 9 degrees. And we are going to see temperatures steadily warm throughout the day. You can see that widespread snow that's already taking over a good portion of the central interior. And this is going to stay with us for several hours today. And again, that winter storm warning is with us through 7 a.m. Friday. And we're still going to favor at least some gust of about 30 to 40 miles per hour. So snow stays with us into the afternoon and evening hours. You can see by the evening commute, most of that snow will shift off towards the southeast. We could see some lingering bands of some snow showers on the backside of that into our Thursday and Friday. But today will be the bigger concern in the heavy snowfall that we are going to see across a good portion of the interior. So how much snow are we expected to see? Well, again, 5 to 10 inches with some locally heavier amounts to be expected through the central and western interior. You can really see that band of heavier snowfall that's going to set up somewhere along the Fairbanks region and to the southeast. This is where we will see that potential for some of those higher snowfall totals where we could manage to see heavier downpours in that snow shower. So again, be prepared for several inches of that snow accumulation. That is why we do have a first alert weather day for today. Tacking on with the amount of snow that we did see last weekend and into today and tomorrow, many areas could approach near 2 feet of snow accumulation for a week total. So that's what we're going to be watching. And again, that storm snowfall depth is sitting at 29 inches. You can see once that system clears, we are going to see temperatures dropping. Thursday, we're going to be sitting at 10 degrees. And then the cold weather arrives into the weekend. You can see overnight lows could return as cold as about 30 to 40 below in some of those coldest areas. So Fort Yukon, Eagle, Birch Creek, be prepared for bitter cold weather. Short-lived as we do warm back into the teens early next week with more snow showers in the forecast.
Well, there's no place like Nome, especially when it serves as shelter and relief from extreme weather. The Iron Dog, the world's longest, toughest snow machine race, is living up to the slogan this year. The race put on hold as a storm hits the West Coast. Tyler Lane has more from Nome.
Conditions here in Nome, not as bad as what we witnessed here Monday night. Those blizzard conditions going away, sun poking out when it can, and the ravens soaring through the sky as they do. And the hope now is that those pro-class racers on the Iron Dog Trail get to experience these conditions in the not-too-distant future. Racers and their sleds are currently waiting through a mandatory hold until 6 a.m. Wednesday morning in Kotzebue. That decision made by Iron Dog race officials due to weather conditions along the course. That action will also affect Wrench Day here in Nome. Racers are expected to arrive here at the City Garage Wednesday afternoon, with Wrench Day taking place the following day on Thursday. That'll be the time they can rest up, fix gear, and take a well-deserved break from what expedition riders and race staff say were some, let's just say, less than ideal scenarios.
Just following the person in front of you, going from stake to stake along the trail. So visibility's been a real challenge.
Yeah, it's just a relief to finally see civilization and be here.
We lost the trail and started getting stuck, and
luckily we were able to get out of it, and right when we did, the guys from Golovin showed up and helped rescue the other team that was in trouble, and I just can't say enough good things about them. They're amazing people.
Total whiteout. You couldn't see a headlight.
Pretty much every rider I talked to has said it's like putting a bucket over your head. Probably no visibility for most of this race so far, but they're pushing through, and some of these guys are making some amazing times.
Tyler Lane, Alaska's news source.
Now that ground hold lifted just about 20 minutes ago, so not a lot of movement on the tracker now as expected. Only Team 14, Boylan and Leslie, who have been in the lead, are permitted to leave Kotzebue so far. The next team, Ackelstad and Olstad, will be free to move on in just a few minutes. The race has staggered release times to keep the race fair amid the weather-related ground hold. Continue to follow Alaska's news source for the latest. And while we're on the topic of winter games, races, and sports, let's check in on the 2026 Winter Olympics medal count. As of 5:45 a.m., Norway continues to run away with the top spot overall, leading in both gold medals with 15 and overall medal count with the 32. The U.S. is still sitting in third, trailing host nation Italy, holding 7 gold medals and 24 total. Side note, the most recent silver medal the U.S. won was by Gus Schumacher and his partner Ben Ogden in cross-country skiing.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.